She says she wants a man who's present, who texts her, who shows affection, who chases. But when she meets that man, she loses interest. She starts to test, to pull away, and without even realizing it, she becomes obsessed with the one who doesn't care about her. The cold guy, the quiet one, the one who never sent a good morning text. Why does this happen? Because what she says and what she feels are not the same. She may say she wants security, but what fuels desire is risk. She may say she wants affection, but what keeps her hooked is absence. She may say she craves attention, but what addicts her is the lack of it. And today, you're going to understand the real reason, the dark and raw truth. Why she becomes obsessed with the man who doesn't seem to care. Reason 1, because he's a real challenge and she needs to prove herself. Every woman says she wants a good man, kind, gentle, caring. But when she meets one, she gets bored. She pulls away. She starts testing. Why? Because that too perfect man doesn't give her what her instincts truly crave. Emotional challenge. She wants the man who's hard to get, the one who doesn't give everything up front, the one who isn't impressed by looks or shaken by compliments. She might say she wants stability, but what keeps her addicted is the emotional instability that a cold, focused man triggers inside her. This type of man doesn't give compliments for free. He doesn't reply right away. He's not available 24/7. And that makes her wonder, does he like me? Why isn't he chasing me like the others? Is there someone else? Those questions aren't harmless. They light a fire in her mind. Suddenly, she starts chasing. She dresses better, posts more, tries to make him jealous, all just to get the attention of a man who doesn't even seem to be looking. And that's exactly what traps her, because he is a real challenge. He's not pretending to be unavailable. He simply has better things to do. While other men try everything to impress her, he's training, working, living his life. While others flatter and overgive, he just observes. He's not playing games. He's focused because he is his own top priority. And this lack of neediness, this absence of desperation, shifts something inside her. She wants to be noticed by him. She wants his approval. She wants to break the wall he's built around himself. And here's the darkest part. She's not interested in him. She's obsessed with winning. Winning the silence, winning the coldness, winning control. She wants to prove to herself that she can make that kind of man open up, that she can break through. Because if he gives in, it validates that she's enough, that she's powerful. But he doesn't give in. He keeps observing, keeps his rhythm. And that's what breaks her. Because she starts falling for someone who offers no guarantees. And for that reason alone, he seems more valuable than all the others. She feels that if she can conquer this man, she conquers everything. Respect, validation, recognition. But the more she tries, the further away he stays. The more mysterious he becomes, the more powerful his silence feels. That's the man she wants. Not because he chose her, but because he hasn't chosen anyone. And that makes her compete, invest, desire. She's not in love with what he shows. She's in love with what he refuses to give. And that's the first reason, the most instinctive, the most brutal. She wants the man who doesn't care, because he's a real challenge, and she needs to prove she can win. Reason 2, because he's a mystery she can't decode. She's used to men who overshare, men who spill everything in the first week, who talk about their feelings, traumas, intentions. Predictable men, easy to read, easy to forget. But this guy, the one who doesn't care, who doesn't chase, he's different. She looks at him, tries to read him, and can't. He doesn't show emotion on his face. He doesn't reveal what he's thinking in words. He doesn't react like the others. And that's when her mind freezes, because the human brain hates what it can't understand. And the more she tries to figure him out, the more she gets trapped. He's the kind of man who's physically present, but mentally distant. He talks, but never reveals. He looks, but never gives away certainty. He never says what he wants, never says what he feels, never says what he's looking for. So she starts creating theories. She fills in the blanks with her imagination. Did he like me? Is he testing me? Is he like this with everyone, or just with me? She enters a mental loop. And the more she thinks about him, the deeper he roots himself in her thoughts. This is the power of mystery. And as Robert Greene teaches, curiosity is one of the most powerful tools of influence. When she isn't sure, she gets more involved, because her mind won't let go until it solves the puzzle. And this man is the biggest puzzle she's ever faced. He disappears for days and comes back like nothing happened. He replies with short texts, but they hit hard. He never asks too many questions, never over-explains, never justifies himself. And each one of those behaviors builds a powerful presence. He's not present by frequency, he's present by the intensity of his absence. And that gets her addicted, because he is the man she just can't figure out. And the desire grows exactly in the silence. She tries to engage, she tests him, she flirts, and he does nothing. He doesn't react, doesn't bite the bait. And that triggers her most dangerous thought. If I can't get a reaction from him, then he has more power than me. And for a woman who's used to controlling men, that's unbearable. She doesn't want to understand this man. She wants to conquer him. She wants to break him. She wants to hear, "I can't stop thinking about you." But as long as he remains silent, mysterious, unreadable, she'll keep chasing. And the more she tries, the deeper she falls, the more she suffers, the more she craves. And in the end, she realizes she's not in love with him. She's in love with the idea of figuring him out. Reason 3, because he doesn't need her, and that breaks her inside. She's used to being wanted, used to men who smile too much, compliment too often, want too badly, men who orbit around her, who do everything for just a little attention. But then he shows up, cold, focused, too busy to even show a hint of neediness. She sees it in his eyes, his tone, his posture. He doesn't need anything from her, not her body, not her validation, not her presence. And that messes with her more than anything else, because the man who doesn't need her is the only one who can truly hurt her ego. He doesn't treat her badly, but he doesn't treat her like she's special either, because he treats himself as the priority. While she's posting photos, waiting for his reaction, he's at the gym, he's reading, he's building his life. While she sends texts fishing for attention, he replies when he feels like it. And when he does, he doesn't try to impress. He doesn't force connection. He doesn't seek approval. He's the kind of man who's built his own world from the inside out. And when she steps into that world, she realizes she's not the center of anything. She's just a variable, a possibility. That shatters her ego, but it also lights a deeper desire to be chosen by a man who doesn't need anyone. Because when a needy man falls in love, it doesn't impress her. But when a man who's complete, untouchable, emotionally independent, decides to look at her, it makes her feel powerful. She wants to prove that she can matter to someone who doesn't need her. That kind of validation is rare. That's why she chases it. She wants him not out of love, but because he represents a throne. and she wants to be the queen sitting beside him. But here's the twist. He's not building a throne for two. He's building an empire. And she can only enter if she has something real to add. And when she finally sees that, she fights. She tries harder. She starts chasing a place in a life that doesn't revolve around her. And this is the darkest truth. The man who doesn't need her is the only one who can make her desperately want to feel needed. Reason 4, because he ignores her and still controls the room. He walks into the room, and she feels it, not because of what he says, but because of what he doesn't say. He doesn't smile at everyone, doesn't try to fit in, doesn't start conversations just to be liked. And still, he commands attention. While others make noise to get noticed, he dominates through silence, through posture, through a calm, focused stare, through a presence that's unsettling, but magnetic. She notices he's different, that he's not trying to impress, that he doesn't need anyone's approval. And in that exact moment, she starts watching. Even if he hasn't said a word to her, even if he doesn't look her way, even if he seems completely indifferent, she starts wondering, starts anticipating, starts imagining what would happen if he did look, if he did speak, if he did smile. But he doesn't. And his nothing has more weight than most men's everything. Because he doesn't ignore to be rude. He ignores to stay in control. He's not careless, he's intentional. And she feels it. She feels that he knows exactly what he's doing, that he chooses where to look, when to move, who to acknowledge. He's free, untouchable, and his world is untouchable too. She throws signals, hints, subtle flirtations, but he doesn't react. And that creates a tension inside her that she can't escape, because it doesn't matter if he's talking to other women or just standing silently in the corner. The room changes when he enters. The energy shifts. The air tightens. She tightens. She knows he's ignoring her, and yet somehow he's controlling her. It confuses her, turns attraction into frustration, desire into loss of control. He doesn't need to touch her. He already owns her mind. Because the man who knows how to ignore with elegance, who disappears with power, who says nothing but commands everything, owns the space, owns the attention, owns her emotional state. And here's the brutal truth. She wants validation from him. Not because he's better, but because he's the only one she hasn't been able to control. Reason 5. Because he has better options, and she feels it. She doesn't know why. But something deep inside her whispers, he has other women. It's not what he says. It's what he radiates, the way he moves, the way he talks, slow, certain, relaxed, the way he lives, like he's already satisfied. He doesn't chase, because he doesn't have to. He doesn't compliment, because he's seen better. He doesn't insist, because he already has who he wants, or could, if he wanted. And she feels it. She feels like she's being compared, even if he never says a word. She senses a silent competition around him, and that feeling awakens the oldest instinct inside her, the urge to win. She starts dressing differently, posting more, forcing conversations, all just to stand out from the others she assumes he must have. She wants to be chosen, wants to be the favorite, wants to be the exception. But here's the dark twist. He's not trying to choose anyone. He's living, growing, building himself to the point where he doesn't need to pick anyone. They come to him. And even though he doesn't say it, she knows she's not the priority. She knows she's not at the center, because he doesn't hide it. He just doesn't make a show out of it. Everything about him, his distance, his energy, his discipline, screams, I have options. And the part that hurts the most? He doesn't seem to need another one. He's not messaging her at midnight saying he misses her. He's not liking her pictures at 3 a.m. He's not reacting with jealousy. He's not trying to prove anything, because he is the proof. And the more indifferent he is, the more she feels irrelevant. The more she tries to stand out, the more she fights to be noticed by a man who already seems surrounded by better. And here comes the final blow. She wants to be wanted by him, because that would prove she beat all the others. It's not love, it's ego, it's obsession, it's psychological war. And she'll keep playing the game, even if he never agreed to play. In the end, she'll never admit it. She'll never look you in the eye and say, "I fell in love because you ignored me, because you were cold, because you didn't make me the center of your world." She'll keep saying she wants attention, that she wants affection. But deep down, what consumes her, what lives in her thoughts, is the man who never gave her certainty, the man who doesn't need her, who lives in his own world, who can disappear and still leave a presence that echoes inside her mind. That's the guy she wants, because he's the only one she could never control. You don't need to play games. You don't need to fake indifference. You just need to become so focused on yourself, so rare, so grounded, that the absence of your attention becomes her biggest trigger. Be the man she looks at and thinks, "He doesn't need me," because that's the man she'll chase, and never admit why. If this opened your eyes, if you finally understand the hidden psychology behind female attraction, subscribe to this channel now. Here, we talk about what no one else dares to say, the truth behind desire, the dark side of the female mind, and how to use that truth, not to manipulate, but to become a man who can't be ignored. You have two options. Keep being the guy who chases and never understands why she left, or become the man she secretly wants, but will never admit it. The choice is yours.